So I had the experience of seeing, knowing really early at about 12 years old why I am on this planet, what my life is all about. And that briefly is about ensuring that opportunity is distributed equally for people to become their true and best selves, no matter their circumstance or their zip code or their background or their gender or any other identity factor. And there's more about that story if you're curious in my book and a lot of podcasts. It's out there. So I won't go into the full story now. But what matters is that I knew really early at 12 what I want to see in the world, right? That world outcome to me, that one dimension of the three was really clear for me very early. And of course, at 12, I did not know what that meant in terms of a job or a function or a career or industry. Eventually, through college, it got clear to me that nonprofit would be the way to do that, to have that impact. And so, a lot has evolved since then, but I've had now more than 30 years, 3 decades, to kind of understand the other two dimensions and fail and, burn out and hit walls and make really big mistakes in those other two dimensions of me and we. And so I know that we cannot. I know that I cannot have it all, right? If I just looked outside for the best possible me and we situations to try to match up with what I knew was my world outcome that I care about, it hasn't gone well sometimes. And so, what I am here, why I do this work of helping guide leaders toward 3D leadership, is that I have picked up a lot along the way of the habits and the tools and the reflections and the resources that have helped me get to having my all, to this 3D leadership of having a world outcome that I remain committed to 32 plus years later, but also understanding the me and the we outcomes that matter to me, and the cocktail, the blend, the balance and integration of life that is required for me to hit that aligned three-dimensional having my all approach. So some more to that. The elements that I've seen to be important are first and foremost that having your all is rooted in action. It's about what you do on Tuesday afternoon, how you show up to Sunday brunch with family or friends, right? The kind of big picture purpose statement or legacy or values or all of that is really important. It's helpful. Those are helpful exercises to go through and they're helpful things to keep close to you. But actually where the rubber meets the road, especially for those of us in intense, corporate or otherwise, but organizational jobs and demanding family situations and friend communities and, all that we have going on, it's really important to link to action. What are you doing today with your time, your energy, your attention, and also with your money? What investments are you making, and do those align to the outcomes you want to see? And so here, the pitfall that we have to get over is inaction, right? Not doing things. And I don't often, with the people I'm working with, this isn't about like sitting on the couch and vegging out for hours or days at a time. Most of us live in a lot of action. The inaction I mean is not changing, not making intentional action, because the algorithm and capitalism and that shiny little device in your hand for so many hours a day will drive you toward a certain form of action that is not necessarily aligned with those 3D outcomes that you actually want, right? A lot of those external factors are about it all, having it all. And so if we just follow that action by inertia, keeping going on those paths, we don't get our all. And so it is important to avoid, to get over the inaction of staying in that externally driven action, to get to internally, intentionally driven and aligned action. So that's the first. The second thing is that it has to be authentic, right? It has to make sense for you and where you work and how you live and whose family you're part of and what your identity is, right? And the identities you care about. All of that has to be authentic. Like a company's purpose has to line up and be authentic. Your own purpose, your own 3D leadership has to be authentic to you. It has to match your personality, your preferences, your sleep needs, your, your lifestyle and where you live and how you live, the money you need to make or not, right? All of that has to be authentic, because if it's not, it doesn't work. It's not sustainable. And so you will be wasting your time on effort that actually doesn't produce return. And in this moment, in this day and age of a lot of challenges, a lot of existential, big, hard challenges that we're facing, we need you and everyone else around you at your best. We need you to have your all so that you are performing on all cylinders and contributing what is uniquely yours. So important to get authentic. And to get authentic requires avoiding shoulds, right? We can should ourselves pretty effectively, and we can either project or actually experience shoulds from parents, from bosses, from magazines, from our school alma maters, from peers, neighbors, right? All of that is very real, and it's important to kind of silence and shut those out to get to this authenticity of your all. And finally, we have to get aligned, right? We really have to be aligned in a way that is not how it used to be, how we've always done it, right? Those orthodoxies are the pitfall here. And so when we get over the orthodoxy into what is actually our all, again, we're aligned with those outcomes that we want in the world dimension, not trapped by how it's always been done or how it used to be, right? And again, this day and age is a moment of more rapid change probably than any other generations have ever faced. And so relying on orthodoxy is actually not only a bad idea, it's quite risky, because that's just not where we live anymore. And so it's important to kind of come into now, look forward, and get aligned with what you want to create. So leading in 3D is action-oriented, it is authentic, and it is aligned. And we are going to talk more about the tools and the practices to avoid inaction, shoulds, and orthodoxy. Yeah? Let's go.